What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Hunter Grand, your personal agent for change, making life easy, Barzini.
And I'm fempreneur extraordinaire and tech diva all day, Dre Renee.
And this is the Crossroads, where there's only one rule.
Be free to be you. Even on
What's
this
going
holiday.
on? Even on this holiday, even enduring what we both enduring
Yes.
right now, because I'm not having fun. Um,
Oh.
yeah, that's all right. I'll see if I can wash the pain down with this.
Well, as long as you're not on meds, washing it down, you're just
Uh,
thugging it through.
Listen, I got a philosophy. You medicate and then activate.
Okay. All right. Hey, everybody.
What's going on, y'all?
We
What's
see
going?
y'all. We see y'all.
Oh, it's been
Happy
such a week that
Monday.
it's been such a week that we're actually on a Monday. This is not our normal day,
I know. I
but
know.
we doing it.
But we're here. We're here. And you guys can already tell I'm not at home, so
Yeah, Dre's
things be thinking.
she broadcasting on the road.
On the road. And my light just looked like it's just started dimming. I don't know what's going on. So, but you
We can
guys can
see
still tell it's me. So
we can see the curls curling.
thank you. Yeah. Tried a new method last
Hmm.
week. So, we'll see what happens.
How are you feeling?
Well,
How was your today?
um, today was cool. It was an emotional, heavy weekend in past few
Hmm.
days. So today I just tried to chill out. But of course, the day went really fast. And so,
Hmm.
you know, we'll be right back at it tomorrow. But it's all good. How about you?
Um, Outside of the pain, um, yeah, I'm okay. It was something interesting happening. I've been having conversations about health insurance and how bogus it is.
Oh, remind
But
me to, we need to talk about that. I found an expert that might be able to shed some light on some of those situations.
oh, dope. Um,
Ah.
so I tried to go get a prescription for the pain,
Mm-hmm.
and while I was there, this little old lady, little Latina lady, that couldn't afford her prescription,
Oh.
and so she didn't get paid for a few days, so she was asking like, can they just give her 3 days worth of her medication until she can get paid and get the whole thing? So of course they were like, we have to do the whole thing over, or we couldn't do it, and blah 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 blah. And so I'm sitting there minding my BI business. Remember that a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it was this white guy behind me. He was like, "How much is it? How much is it?" And
Mm-hmm.
so they told him how much it was. He was like, "Oh," he's like,
I
"That's out
can't
of my."
help you.
He was like, "That's out of my budget."
I know. I'm unable.
And so I was just like, I was like, man, let me just go ahead. So the spirit was tugging at me, and I went ahead and paid for it. And
Oh, so kind.
yeah, then they turned around and didn't have my medication.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
But I just feel like God had me there at that time for that moment. And so the lady was like, she can barely speak English. Um,
Mm.
but she was like, let me give you my phone number so I can pay you back. And I was like, you know, um,
Oh.
yeah, I mean, I'll get paid again. But the thing is, it was like, you don't know someone's situation. I don't know her health condition. I don't know what the medication was for, because of course they had the long medical names for it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But for all I know, she may not make it 3 days without her medication.
Right. Exactly. Like a lot of people I know, like ration their insulin for
Hmm.
that reason, right? Because it's so expensive, and that can be the difference between life and death for some people. So
Hmm.
um,
And it's
that's
just
pretty tough to hear.
yeah, I hate that it's a money grab like that. Like literally, it's people being alive is a business, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I say that on the air not to like broadcast a good deed, but it's kind of like, if you're in a position to be kind, well, you're always in a position to be kind, but if you're in
Mm-hmm.
a position to be of help, um Because sometimes, I mean, I negotiated, like it was an internal negotiation, kind of like, because
Mm-hmm.
old boy was there and she was going on for a while. She was like, well, let me just try to put it on my card, and they ran her card and it didn't go through. And I'm like, I'm trying to budget myself, but
Right.
I couldn't allow myself to be selfish, because I put a little money away to like spend out of every paycheck. I put it in a different account anyway, so I use
Mm-hmm.
that money. Um, because that's like my go out to breakfast money or do a
Right.
little whatever. So
Well, we're blessed to be blessings, and you'll never, I believe, you'll never be without what you need when you do things like that. So,
yeah. So if y'all catch
shout
me
out
in
to that.
line trying to get my medication and can't afford it, y'all better
Pay
I
it
better
forward.
exactly throw a brother a couple of dollars. You know what I'm saying? Or my stepdaddy's call them Gitas. You can let me loan me a couple of Gitas.
Oh
I don't
Lord, I
I don't know what
never
a
heard
Gita
that before.
is. Yeah,
No,
just whatever. It's some
have
type
mercy.
of unit of money. Speaking of money, let's go ahead and pay these bills so we can keep this show going. Um,
Absolutely,
all right. So as always, y'all, the Crossroads Podcast is brought to you by the House of 334.
it's the house.
For all your business branding and copyright needs, go to houseof334.com. It is black owned, it is woman owned, it is black woman owned, and it is amazing. Also, the Crossroads Podcast is brought to you by the Crossroads. Y'all can visit our Bitly to follow everything that we do, our YouTube channel, which you're on right now. And since you're on that, we need you to take a second, scroll down, hit the subscribe button. Also, copy the link of this podcast that you're watching right now. Send it to a couple of people like right now. Hit them in the DM and say, "Hey, check this out." Because we're gonna be talking about some things this week
Yep.
anyway that we want y'all's opinion. So I'll put out the topic right now so that y'all can share it and get people in here. We're gonna be talking about Rihanna and ASAP on the cover of Vogue. We're going to be talking about Jonathan Majors on the cover of Ebony. We're going to be talking about Chris Brown's story because little bro had time this week going in on people. We're talking about the perceived attack on masculinity, black masculinity specifically. So we're going to be touching all this stuff this week. So if y'all know that people can contribute to this conversation, send them the link to this live right now because we welcome everybody. Also, we
Absolutely.
welcome donations. So if you want to
Donation,
donate,
donation.
donations, you can go to our Bitly to donate. Y'all, whether it's a little or a lot, we appreciate it all. This is a labor of love, but love ain't free. And if you think it is, go tell your landlord that you love them. Also, if you would like to be a sponsor on the Crossroads Podcast, you can send us an email at crossroadspodcast@gmail.com. Send us some information and we'll hit you back and let you know about sponsorship information so that your business can be featured on the Crossroads Podcast.
Well, all right. I think you've done it in record time.
Really?
I don't know. It
I
just
usually
moved
have,
really
yeah.
fast.
Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe next week I'll slow it down so they can get all the deets.
No,
So we
it
can
was
get them.
perfect. It was perfect.
Oh, okay. Okay. Bet,
And
bet.
if you have questions, put them in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
But
I,
I think our
yeah.
regulars got it. They probably could get on and do it.
I'm gonna start doing drops as a side hustle.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
it's a
Do a
thing.
little hey, it is. Remember when people used to do drops on the radio?
Hmm.
I don't even know if people listen to the radio anymore, let alone do drops.
I don't. I
Yeah.
listen to streaming and YouTube. That's it.
Yeah. I literally when I was out, I saw a red box. I was like, they still got DVDs in here? Like who still
What do you
has a
think they?
DVD? I don't know. I was like, maybe they do streams now or something. I was just curious.
I
Like,
think they do too, right? Like, who is that? Netflix.
mhm,
Does Netflix still do the package
DVD?
mail to you?
I hope not, but they might
Okay. Well,
because
I
that's how
know.
they started.
I think Redbox allows you to rent online as well as the actual box. So you have
Oh,
options.
okay. Yeah, because I never see anyone at the Red Box anymore. It was a cool idea when they was doing it, but that was Netflix first, and it's just I'm curious to see what the next big idea is going to be. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
that's going to challenge because Netflix challenged and put Blockbuster out of business.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, they did you see the documentary? There's a documentary called like The Last Blockbuster.
No,
That's
I know it exists, but I haven't seen
yeah.
it.
So there's a documentary I think called The Last Blockbuster. And it's on Netflix.
Mm.
But there's a part where they pitched Netflix to Blockbuster, and they turned them
Oh,
down,
well, and that's what happens. You got to
and that's what
listen.
happens. Yeah,
When
yeah.
it's
So
time for things to turn and transition, you know, you got to be sensitive to that. And
yeah,
if
but you
not, you
never
can get swept
know.
up in it.
Yeah, but you never know. Like all the things that are normal to us now were once this crazy idea.
Hmm. Yep.
So like, who would have thought? Like, hey, we'll send DVDs to people's homes. Like that's stupid. Ain't nobody
Stupid.
gonna do that. And then all of a sudden,
Then you
it's
get three
like,
fresh ones in your mailbox at
right.
the end of
So
the week.
think about all the things that we used to go out and do, we now do from the comfort of our home, right? Like going to the movies was an outing. People don't really
Hmm.
go to the movies that much anymore.
Nope.
People like to go out and pick up food. Now you just have it delivered
DoorDash.
to you.
Yep.
Like pizza was the
Me
only thing that you could get delivered at one time. And then all of a
and
sudden,
funerals. So I went to two funerals this week, but both of them were live streamed somewhere. Like people are able to get a little URL and
church.
attend.
Yeah,
Church. Yeah,
church.
same.
So
Things are different.
think about this. On a Sunday, you can go to church, go to
You can go to a
breakfast.
couple of churches.
You can go to a couple of churches, have breakfast, right? At your
Hmm.
favorite restaurant, from your favorite restaurant, and watch a new
Watch a
movie that's
movie
out,
and never leave
right?
home.
And what's that? And never leave home.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
that's crazy. That's
That's our
literally
life.
and not only that, watch it with your friends because you can do watch parties and
You
then
can do
talk to
watch
people
parties.
face to face without being in the same room.
Mhm. Case in point.
Case in point,
Hello.
right? How you doing? We
Good to
across the
see you.
country, right?
Yeah.
But there was a time not too distant past that
Right.
this was considered futuristic, and if we were on a movie, it would be or remember when a futuristic movie like Back to the Future was literally 2015.
Yeah. And it
That's all,
seemed far away, but now
right?
it's
Or yeah,
behind.
or one of the most famous futuristic movies, 2010, that was made in the
I don't
80s or the
I
70s.
never saw that.
Yeah. Well, the theme music, dun 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 dun, dun that's 2010.
Mm.
You still don't know what song that
It
is. I
might
didn't.
just be
It's it's longer than that. You would get it if I did it correctly. I just rushed through.
okay. I was like, don't use me as a measurement.
I'll play it for you later. You're gonna be like, oh.
Okay.
So, you know what? We can jump right into it because I feel like we gonna go some places.
Okay,
Um,
dokie.
with this. So, y'all, I'm gonna let Dre bring it in because it's been some interesting commentary on everything that's happening. So, I guess we'll start on the heels of the Super Bowl and then go into these covers that we've been seeing.
What's the heels of the Super Bowl? I mean,
Rihanna.
about well, I know Rhea, but what about it
Well,
specifically?
because the
What we were talking about
magazine
last
came
week?
out. Yeah, we were talking about Rihanna last week, and then the magazine cover came out after that. So, like, the segue to the conversation is really everybody
Okay,
was
so
like,
we're starting
"Oh,
with Rihanna first. Is that
yes,
technically what you're
yeah,
saying?
that's
Okay.
that's what I'm
So
saying."
I was like on the heels of the Super Bowl. Like, what the hell
The
happened?
Super Bowl halftime show. I'll be more specific.
No, yeah. I was like, oh my God, I missed something. I'm unsure.
Oh,
Okay.
next
Hey,
time, just
what I
drop it
tell
in the
you?
private chat, like, like,
We
hell, what are you
family.
talking about?
I
Yeah,
told
yeah.
y'all it's been an
I guess they know
interesting
about our antics
couple
right
of days.
by now.
Yes.
One day we're gonna fully let y'all into the behind the scenes and y'all can see the whole production.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm back at this point. So let's go ahead and actually show what we're talking about, I guess,
Mm,
which is Rihanna, ASAP Rocky, and unnamed child, or at least we don't know the name of child, on the cover of British Vogue. And it is an article, of course, about Rihanna. And somebody at, I don't know who did this because I've seen it a couple of places, but um, they have used their computer skills to outline these labels for
Mhm.
both Rihanna and ASAP. And so, as you can see, for her, they have strong, dominant, masculine woman. She is the leader, hard face, chest out, shoulders back. And then they have him in the back. So he's holding the child and showing affection to the child, which I think is wonderful to see because we don't often see that. But he is labeled there, as you can see from top to bottom. I can't see what's next to the child's head, but soft face, I probably have to use the brightness on that, but that green is bad. Slouching, submissive, nurturing, feminine man, cock shame. I don't know where they got that from, but there's there. He is the follower. And then there's something right here. I'm not sure what that says. Can you see that?
No, I
I
can't see
can't
what it's
tell
saying.
what
It's
that.
like,
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what that says.
it should just say
But
baby. I would hope.
right, I was like, I hope it's not something. Oh, happy baby, I think is what it says. Oh, thank
Oh,
God.
okay.
I hope that's what it says. At least that's the best thing out of the whole the
As
whole thing.
opposed to what?
Happy baby.
Like,
So, yes, ladies and gents, if you have not seen this um, image already, we would love to start getting your comments. But, Barzani, what do you think about what we're looking at here?
I think it's stupid. Like some people have way too much time. Right now,
Hmm.
if I'm starting on, is there an attack on masculinity, or is there an agenda? Yes, I do believe that that is so. Do I think that that's what's at play here? No. Like this is more than a reach. Like this is somebody went up their booty and pulled this so far from their ass, and like it's a pose, right?
It's
They're
supposed.
holding hand. It's a pose, and or it may not even be a pose. They just walking, and it was a shot. It was, you know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like we literally take snapshots. This is in this case a literal snapshot, and want to analyze and psychoanalyze and break, like what makes I'm gonna have my focus on ASAP right here.
Okay.
What makes a man that is holding his
Let's see.
child
There we go.
and
We can get closer.
right and being an affectionate father, what makes him soft,
Hmm.
right? What makes him submissive? What makes nurturing feminine, right? That's the part, or a follower. Now, um, is Malcolm. She's a greenish. No problem.
Okay, so we said one day we may use these audios, so we're gonna have to read
Mhm.
these out loud, even though
Yeah,
right now we're just on YouTube. So
right.
this
You
mock-up is an
usually read them.
attack
That's why I was
on
like,
breaking. Oh, okay, is an attack on breaking away gender roles. She is a billionaire. She's in her prime. It shames the ability to show gender roles outside the construct of society's expectations. Mm. So women can't be breadwinners. A man can't be vulnerable.
right.
Let's
And
discuss.
but even more than that, who says she's the breadwinner? Like we know who he is. We know
I
what he does.
mean, I mean, maybe not all the bread, but
No, it's like
what?
she's a billionaire. Her income is higher. That like when you think breadwinner, when I think breadwinner, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like
Hmm.
I am the only one that's bringing in the bread. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Okay.
not
Okay.
a partnership. We don't have, you know what I'm saying? It's like one income. But no, that's not what this is. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But who, like, how many billionaires are there in the world? I think it's dope that she's a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? Um, hell, we say the same thing about Oprah and Stedman. We don't know nothing about Stedman.
We sure don't.
You know what I'm saying? But we make jokes and everything else, but we make the jokes based on because we know what she makes. But that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily mean that like we don't know the construct of their relationship or their setup, right? We That's like saying she paying for every like dude was rich before he got with her. That's probably how he got with her. You know what I mean?
Well,
Because who
I
is she
think.
gonna find that makes as much or more money than her,
Oh yeah, no, very few.
right? Like
Her pool went from.
yeah, and the crazy thing about like okay, if Rihanna were saying what a lot of we hear women say, oh, he got to make as much as me or more, ma'am,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, come on. So suffice it to say, she's with who she loves. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
she with somebody who she ain't got to take care of, right? Um, but it wasn't like she wasn't always on. She's how long she been a billionaire? You know, a few years, if that.
Right.
But so we make all these assumptions, but I don't understand how this makes him feminine. You know what I mean? And the crazy part is
Yeah.
I was raised by my father, right? My father was a nurturing man. He had to learn how to be a nurturer for his sons, you know, because we didn't have mom around, right? So to this day, my father hugs us, he gives us kisses, you know, and I'm a grown man. Does that make him soft? Does that make him feminine? Or does that make him a loving father?
Right.
You know? And so we create this stigma that men can't be loving or nurturing and or women can't have careers or make a lot of money. Like, no, we don't. And besides, we don't know what they do when they go home.
Mm.
She still may follow his lead for all we know about Rihanna is her profession. We know her job, right? As a business mogul, like a fashion mogul and a music artist. That's what we know. And done a
Mm-hmm.
couple of movies, right? We don't know what kind of woman she is at home, right? And so we make all these assumptions about celebrities. We made assumptions about her and Chris Brown. Like everybody just knows what happened in that car that night, right? We just know from beginning to end, right? And that's not about who's wrong or who's right, or we just assume what led up to it. And we don't know. You see what I mean? And we
Mm.
create these things and juxtapose them to our life. Now, here's the question for all you strong men out there. If Rihanna hollered at you, billionaire Rihanna
Hmm.
hollered at you and was like, hey, you know, what's up? You going? Or you gonna be like, nah, you too
No,
masculine.
you're too masculine for me.
You got, you know what I'm saying, your money too masculine for me. Like, if you don't look, what you
Yeah.
need me to do, where you need me to stand, right? Now she can't take her money, can't never buy my manhood. I am who I am, right? And if we didn't vibe together as a couple, then you know, it is what it is. But yeah, this depicts a great balance to me. Yeah, I mean, it just depicts they're a couple. They seem happy in this picture. They have a happy child in this picture. Like they could be
But
miserable for
also,
all we know.
okay, so this is a magazine cover, so I don't know how we can make any type of indictment on their relationship from a magazine cover, but we don't know what the artistic vision was.
Hmm.
Um, but it's
And it's
also a
about
story
her.
about her. Yeah,
Yeah, it's about her.
pretty much.
Like, hey, walk in front of her. So
No, get in the back.
yeah, I'm like, it's not a. The fact that he's there actually, I think, is dope because if it's about her, they're clearly depicting him as part of her.
Right, right.
So, yeah. But go ahead.
So it's very no. I was just saying it's very interesting to see. But we were talking about who's to say he's submissive and whatnot, and it
Hmm.
really these are the thoughts and the ideals that are passed down through
Hmm.
families and generations, and it may not be your family or it may not be my family, but it's happening in lots of families where
Hmm.
people believe that the men should be the disciplinarians, they should be the breadwinners or make the most money. They should be, the protectors of the home. They should not show emotion. We laugh about it, but it's not funny. We say all the time, like, there's a long list of things that you guys as men cannot do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you can't have fun, you can't smile, you can't exhibit any joy, because there's this rigid view of how men, in particular, we're talking about Black men, like, this is how you should behave. If
Mm-hmm.
if you do anything that kind of sort of makes somebody think that it might be gay, then you gotta pause, you gotta no homo, you gotta do all these things, or
Mm-hmm.
else you'll be looked at as soft or submissive or a follower or all these things. And so when we're talking about they is us in a lot of cases. Like, we have to
Mm-hmm.
check ourselves and our friends and our family members. Like, that's not how this house goes, right? Because there have been
Mm-hmm.
people try to put stuff, not on my household, but people try to put things onto your house, like, oh, well, who's running things here? Not
Mm-hmm.
you. How about that?
Right. I mean, and like, if she is running things, if he's happy, then now that's not my jam. But also, it's not my jam to be, you know, dominant over a woman either. I'm looking for a partner.
Partner, absolutely,
You know.
absolutely. But people don't.
Um.
They, if their dad was, or their uncles or whatever, they look for that everywhere in their own relationships. Then, like I said, in their friends' relationships, they'll weigh in and, like, oh man, I thought you was. It's like, hey, hold on.
Yeah.
Whatever works for that couple and that household works for them. Now, of course,
Right.
like I said, I don't know why this magazine means it doesn't mean any of this, but if it was, this is how they chose to run their household. Him spending time with the kid. Let's just say this depicts the woman going out and getting it and the man
Mm-hmm.
staying home with the kid. Let's just say that's what this was. Like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the kid would benefit more, from having an active, present, not always dog tired or irritable dad. Like, I had a lot of friends whose dads, like, when their dad came home from work, you didn't talk to dad because dad was
You're
tired.
tired.
Dad
Yeah.
went through, like, that's not the experience I had.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of people that was their experience. And so, is it worth it so that dad has all these titles and crowns on his head, but you can't have a relationship with your dad? You can't hug and kiss your dad. He's not going to hug and kiss you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
anyway.
Yeah. No. It's crazy, but I just wonder, and it just makes me think about like some of the things that are desired from men, right? So like I saw this one dating profile and I'm reading her bio. She goes like, "Oh, I hope he's hardworking and blah 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 blah." And I kind of paused there, and I'm like, "Why?" Right? Like, I don't want to be a hard worker. I am, but no, because like we often hear a lot of women say like, "Oh, I can't wait to have my man." So I don't want to make any decisions, and I don't want to blah 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 blah. I don't either. I literally don't. Right? It's like, oh, I got to do that at work. So do I. I literally go to work every day and have to make decisions. I go to work every day and have to manage other people and tell them what to do. And then I have to come home and do that. And we have this thing that men just want to all it's work. And like that literally puts us in a state of constant work. Right. And if we're talking partnership, then why in this partnership do I have to make all the decisions? Right. And then when I make a decision that you don't like or agree with, it's why didn't you consult
Yeah.
me?
And that's why communication is important, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
in that kind of dynamic, you definitely need to have conversations, because if the husband and the wife both are in careers, or they have the type of lives where they are making decisions all the time, or they use their brains all the time, they are the ones that are dependent on their managers, their supervisors. Yeah, home is going to be interesting. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
be interesting. Either you have maybe you have a partner that can't turn that off, And so they are, then dominant, bossy, all of that at the house. Or you wind up with two individuals who are like, I do that there, so I'm not going to do it here. And then the whole house
Hmm.
goes to hell.
Or
So,
we gonna have to divvy it up like at work. Everybody has a department.
right. Exactly. Yeah, you
You
definitely have to
know.
divvy it up. You can't assume that one person is, because yeah, there might be one person that's like, yeah, I'm used to this all the time, so I'm on it. And then there may be someone who's like, no, I can't do it one more minute,
Right.
you
And I
know.
mean, like, my thing is, I'm a decision maker. I I do that amongst friends, right? And but the thing is, it's like figuring out who's going to decide what at any given moment, right? Like, hey, okay, you got this one. Boom, you got that one. Like, cater to people's strengths. But the question becomes, if I'm coming in your life and doing all this, all the heavy lifting that you didn't no longer want to do, how then does that make my life easier when I've just, multiplied my responsibilities? It's like I go to work and work. I'm I have to manage the life that I already had, personally. Now I'm taking on your personal stuff and managing that as well and managing us. So how does that become appealing to me? You know what I mean? You're muted.
How that happened. I know we're talking about, I think we're talking about the dating profile.
Hmm.
So her saying she wanted somebody that's hardworking, does that then mean that there's nothing coming from her side? Is that what you're saying? I don't. I'm trying to
No,
understand.
it's
Like,
I don't
if
mean
you
that. It's
take on this role, then there may be something else that she is
well,
bringing.
yeah.
I was listening to, I think it was Shannon Sharp and Ricky Smiley last week. I
Uh-huh.
was listening to a clip, and so Shannon was asking Ricky Smiley. I think both they were just in conversation about like what the expectation is, especially with their stature or what have you.
Hmm.
And Ricky Smiley was talking. Now I don't know if this is the model, but this is who he brought up. Marjorie with
Hmm.
Steve Harvey,
Steve
right?
Harvey.
And
Uh-huh.
so they're like, okay, Steve was already at a place when he got with Marjorie, but what she does for his life in terms of like organization, kind of keeping him focused as a creative. You might be kind of here, there, and everywhere.
Stylist.
The calm that you bring to style, that's how, so some things are intangible, some things are actually tangible, but it's not a one-to-one thing. And I think we've talked about this a couple of times.
Hmm.
Yeah, and Jeff is, yeah, gender roles and all of that. Sometimes it works for people, sometimes it doesn't. To your point, like, what is your strength? Right, if your strength is organization, you're kind of like the PM of the home type situation. Or I sometimes I feel like, I pride myself on doing things that, maybe my husband doesn't want to do. If he's like, I don't want to do that, I'm gonna jump in there and get it done. Like,
Hmm.
making customer service calls and returning stuff. He's like, I'm already on top of that, and
Hmm.
vice versa. Like, if it's something, I'm almost like, oh my God. I don't even know if I have to say I hate it. At this point we know each other well enough, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a sign. I think in partnership, the goal really is like, how can I help make your life better on a daily basis? How can I
Hmm.
help to shoulder the load? How can I just be there for you? And it doesn't have to necessarily be a checklist, because that's going to change day to day. It's going to change depending on what situation you may be in. And so if you're not flexible, that's when, I think problems can come in. Oh, you look
Hmm.
like you're in pain. Jesus, you all
A
right?
lot. I'm in
Oh,
a lot of pain, but it
I'm
is what it
sorry.
is. We on now.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't anticipate it being a whole lot better tomorrow. So that's why I was just like, we might as well go ahead and do the show. But yeah, I don't think there's, so to go to your description of like what Marjorie brings to Steve, right? That's, she brings value, and value is based upon what he needs, right? And so
Hmm.
she fits in areas that he has needs. so it works, right? But I think what's problematic for me, and I don't think I wasn't assuming with her the profile when she was like, "I hope you're hardworking," as she's not doing anything. I'm saying I don't want to work hard. Like I'm working hard now so that I don't have to work hard, right? And
Mhm.
so when you say hardworking, it's like, why? Where does that come from? Because who would you date? Like, say you have two men, both love you the same way, right? Two great guys. They're loving, affectionate, thoughtful, like all the things, all the intangibles, right? However, you have one that's a super hard worker and goes out every day and works hard, right?
Mhm.
And then you have another one who is a trust fund baby and never has to work again. Like, who do you choose?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, all things being equal, I would probably choose. No, I don't think I would choose a trust fund baby. I think there's something to be said for work ethic. I don't want overwork because what comes with that, right? Like you don't have time and or energy to spend cultivating a relationship, and there can become breakdowns there. So if you could help it and create a balance, that's one thing. But a trust fund baby, we might have some other issues. Like, do you do you value work at all? And
Well,
not
let's say he
necessarily to
does.
earn
So
money, not
let's
necessarily
say,
to earn money. Go ahead.
well, let's just say for the example, they have the same values, right?
Hmm.
Let's just say, yeah, he knows work ethic, and the trust fund didn't kick in until he was 30 or something like
Okay,
that.
well, yeah, let's go.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Shout out to
right?
trust funds if that's what it is. I'm just saying, like, are you a different type of person as a result of having things handed to you versus working for them in some capacity? I
Mhm.
think the argument that many of us have experienced is, by working for something, by putting in some sweat equity, by saving money for something, like there's just a different experience, and it challenges and changes you as a person than it would if you just got everything handed. Like
Yeah.
all these celebrities that talk about their kids, I listen to podcasts all the time. We're just like, oh God, these kids. Like my job was to give them a better life, but they don't get it.
Mhm. But if we take the average working person, right, that goes out and works hard, how many people do we know that work hard and go out and they still don't value, they spend all their money on BS and blah 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 blah, blah, right? So you're hardworking and you earn money and everything else, but your values still aren't intact. So I don't necessarily think that the work gives you the value, but and you could have somebody that something is given to you, but you've been taught how to appreciate and value it, right? It's almost like you have,
I mean,
you
anything is
go.
possible, but if we're talking about what we see more of, right? Like you blowing your money can have a lot to do with being poor as a kid, and now you're just like, hey, now that I have money, I got to make sure I have everything. That doesn't mean that you don't appreciate it or that you won't work hard to get it. It just means you work hard to get more.
Well, but also like there's certain values that you don't have, right? So you could, it can also be argued that somebody who grew up and they've always had money, they understand the value of money because they've grown up seeing it and how it works and blah, you know what I'm saying? So it's just second nature to them, right? And you see them like, oh, I don't need this Benz. I'm gonna drive a Corolla, but
Mm,
I'm a millionaire, or I don't dress in fancy clothes because that's not what I value. I grew up rich. All of this
mm-hmm.
stuff is just it's worthless, right? And so it just it just all depends like on the person. Because like I said, you can have two, like we've given the example, two kids grow up in the same household under the same parents under the same roof, and one becomes a doctor and the other one's a serial killer. Like,
It
so
happens.
yeah, it doesn't, I don't think it necessarily means, so I just think like when we say hardworking, that for me it just spells stress, because I get up and work hard
Yeah.
every day and I'm working hard to get to a place to where I don't have to work hard because I want my time, right? And so if I'm having to work hard all the time, then I have less time to be with you. My mindset is about work and sleep, you know what I mean? And yeah, I've always wanted to have my time to do with what I wish versus what I have to do. You know,
I get it. And I
yeah.
guess the question, if this is somebody that you're even in conversation with, is
No,
like, what
I
does
swipe. I
that
swipe
really
left.
mean? Okay. Yeah, it
Yeah.
could be a question of, what does that mean? Because I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
that descriptor means something else. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean just that. So,
It could, but
anywho,
I just yeah, we say that a lot. Yeah, but
we down the rabbit hole on this because we
mhm.
still got another whole
Another cover to get
magazine.
to, another whole magazine. Yeah. Now this
Another
one
whole
was interesting.
magazine. This one was interesting, but let me start with my favorites first because it got more interesting as we went. But initially, I thought, hey,
Mm-hmm.
let's give the people what they want. So shout out to Jonathan Majors on actually shout out to him like in his career. Like
Yeah, he's working.
he went from who is this to he's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the past few months, I think I went to the movies to see I was gonna say the Lion King, Jesus, the Woman King in
Mm-hmm.
October-ish, right? And I think we sat there before we got to the movie. We saw three straight
Previews
previews
with him.
with him, and I
I
was
was about to say he
oh
wasn't in the Woman
OMG.
King.
No, he was not in the Woman King, but he was in the
Mm-hmm.
previews of all the
Mm-hmm.
upcoming movies.
Yeah,
So here's where
he had Devotion, um,
Devotion. He has
Ant
Ant
Man.
Man and Creed 3
Yeah,
immediately.
yeah.
Those are the three that and so two are two of course have been released, and then Creed
Mm-hmm.
is coming
And
in the
this is
next
coming
couple
off
of
of
weeks.
last year. He had The Harder They Fall, and then I want to say
Right.
year before that or 2 years before he had Lovecraft Country.
Right, which is where
Right
most
here,
of us,
yeah.
if not all of us, were introduced based on Lovecraft Country. So, as you saw, this is the love. I was going to call it episode issue, the
Mm-hmm.
love issue of Ebony. And so we were talking, but we began more with this, kind of red number. Then this was kind of reminiscent as far as I was concerned of like maybe like the Creed giving us the
Mm-hmm.
whole boxer situation. And then, he's in this pink suit. He's tossing, and I actually watched a video of how they did the shoot. So he was
Mm-hmm.
like tossing the rose at this point, and
Mm-hmm.
they were capturing different shots. And here, getting his one eye
Mm-hmm.
situation on, laying there reading a book. Oh, sitting up reading a book. I don't know why the books are on his head, but hey, art or something. And then I think this probably is the most talked about image from that whole set of images, if people have even seen all of the images. But
Mm-hmm.
this was the one that I saw that people had the most commentary.
I thought there was another pose
And
with
there was
this one.
another one. There was
Yeah.
one where he was sitting up, I think,
Mm-hmm.
but or sitting straight, not up. He's
Mm-hmm.
already sitting up, but he was sitting more straight. And then the little shrug was over him. And then it kind of looked like cleavage a little more,
Mm-hmm.
right? And pecs. So I do remember that. But he still kind of had the same facial expression with the
Yeah, the
pursed
other one it
lips.
was the lips was pursed and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
damn near duck lips.
Right. So again, oh, well, hello, Garfield, and thank you for approving the podcast. D is with me. We are the
Right.
Yes Lord crew.
Show us the approval by and help us out with a subscription. Thank you for coming.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, we're
Thank you.
glad that to have guests that we haven't seen before. Shout out to Garfield.
Yes. Yes.
So shout
So
out to
yes,
Jonathan Majors, being able to execute a variety of roles well. Lovecraft Country, Devotion Creed. Let's go.
absolutely. So he's definitely shown a wide range over the past couple of years. He went to Yale. He's
That I didn't know. I just learned
yeah.
something.
I was doing my
Okay.
little researches.
Okay. Okay. All right. Ivy League.
Since look, does that make us journalists? We like
I'm definitely not a journalist because at any point I'm like to pop off with something that would get a journalist canceled. So
I know that's right. I know that's right. Okay,
yeah.
so much like um, the last image, they didn't make a diagram or anything on on these images, but the conversation was around him appearing more effeminate. In particular, I think these boots are built into the jeans. I'm not sure what's going on there,
Yeah,
but
that
my
yeah.
first thought was just like, it's just weird, weird, eclectic, funky.
Mhm,
People have their different ways, but I just was like, and also I
mhm.
think people get actors severely twisted, right? Because we see them in these roles and we think that's
This
who
is
they
so.
are.
Mhm.
And this may be his personal style. This may be his personal style. I saw someone earlier call out people who like, oh, if you love Prince and you're upset about this, let's have a talk type situation. And I think
Mhm.
the difference is like Prince presented very either androgynous, either you felt like he didn't pick a side or you felt he picked a side. But this man, we're looking at him and he portrays himself generally in these roles as very masculine. You have the muscles everywhere, and I think it makes people uncomfortable to see him in a position where it's not clear,
Mhm.
for lack
Well,
of a better way to
I'll
explain.
say this. It looks feminine. It just does, right?
Looks
And I'm
feminine.
no, I'm look, I don't I can't put it any, other tactful way. And I'm talking about this outfit in particular. Not so much this pose, but when we're talking about the other pose, right? Like this
Hmm.
outfit with the pursed lips, it it looked feminine.
Hmm.
Um am I saying he's feminine? No, but if we didn't know him, right? If we haven't seen him in live action and in the roles and everything else, and all we had to go with was that picture, what would we say? You know,
Hmm.
and
But there
so
were other pictures, that
no,
which
they
was
were
the point of
they
me
were yeah.
pulling other pictures
Yeah,
because I
yeah, yeah,
wanted us
yeah.
to
No, so the
see.
other ones I get it. It was like the love issue. So we're doing the pinks and the reds. Okay, pink ain't really
Hmm.
my color. Um, but it is what it is. Do you? But I do think that it not so much the colors, but the way that certain outfits or garments present, right? And
Hmm.
so a lot of people don't keep the same energy, right? So when we're talking about like masculinity and men and manhood and things of this nature, we often want to give passes in certain areas that we wouldn't necessarily accept for ourselves and others, right? So like I was having a
Right.
conversation a long time ago where we had where those photos came out from that gay wedding and one of them was a kappa, right? And
Hmm.
so and everybody thought this was two kappas and blah blah blah. So of course I'm getting all the questions. Oh, what do you think about it? Like I don't, my whole thing was like, don't put like you're posting photos of your wedding. Can't nobody say that. But
Right.
also it was like Kappa isn't taking a stance on that. Like, and people are trying to make Kappa take a stance on it. Like, no, this has nothing to do with Kappa. You had a Kappa that had a wedding. Do you
Right.
question every Kappa that has a wedding? No. So why do we have to make statements on this one? Right?
Hmm.
Because it's two gay men. And so this particular friend was questioning about that and I was like, well, would you date a gay man?
Hmm.
No. Why not? Because he's gay. Exactly. Right.
Right.
So like why so the thing is the very thing that you wouldn't accept for yourself, you want to, and I'm not talking about like necessarily gay, but like if dude rolled up in this outfit with these knee-high or built-in boots and this whatever and this furry pink shawl and asked for your number, would you give it to him? Would you go out with him wearing this? Right? Now we know it's for a magazine shoot and it's not, you know, I mean, some of them will wear it, but like it's not your quintessential outfit that people will wear out. But if somebody walked up trying to holler at you, would you give him your number?
Mm.
And the likelihood is not, and it's, they say it's not a movie star, it's not Jonathan Majors, right? So take the celebrity out of it, because we assume celebrities dress like this because they, right?
Mm-hmm.
Regular Joe Schmo, this is how he dresses. Do you give him a number? And likely you wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? And so we, the statement here, nothing is a monolith, not blackness, not maleness, not comic book villain. I disagree. Heterosexuality is a monolith. There's only one way to do that. Right?
Mm.
Like there's only one way to be heterosexual. So that is a monolithic. Now, if you're bisexual, or if you're gay, that's a monolith, right? You sleep with
Mm.
you're in love with, you're attracted to the same sex. That's monolithic. There's only one way to
And
do that.
maybe, yes, there's only one way to be heterosexual, in that you are sleeping with or attracted to somebody of the opposite sex. There's only one way to be homosexual, in that you are only attracted to or having sex with someone of the same sex. But does it present the same way all the time? No, because there are plenty of gay people who you're like, wait, they they're not all the same. Heterosexuals are not all the same. So I think
Well,
that
I'm not talking
that
about
may
being like, I'm not saying like you act in a certain way. So when we're talking about the definition, not how you act, like we was just like, hey,
well, by that definition, we can't do blackness any other way than being black, which is why I'm assuming he means in how you portray or you
mhm.
be, right? Who you are or what you are, not just being black or being heterosexual, being gay. Of course, those have definitions, but in how it may look, or is lived out by different people, it's gonna be different,
Mhm. I
or
just think we're
can be.
talking. Yeah, I just think we're talking about something different when we say that. You're absolutely right, but I don't think those two are the same thing. If I'm making sense. Um, but when it comes to like, I think we conveniently make distinctions and then want to erase lines, right? When it suits us. When it's something we want, we want to be very clear and very distinct. We do, right? It's like, hey, everyone else, be free, be who you are, blah blah. But if you're talking to me, this is how you have to be. You know what I mean?
Oh, well,
So,
yeah, I agree with that, because I'm very much like that. I'm like, whatever
mhm,
you do out there, meaning outside of Andrea, that is you. God bless. If you want to be here, and definitely closer than
yeah,
here, then yes, there has to
there
be
has
a
to,
certain
yeah,
way.
yeah.
But
There's a distinction,
whatever you
but
do out
yeah,
there,
but I think we're getting to a point to where we're afraid to make distinctions, right? Men and women are separate and have separate things for a reason, right? Because if we're all the same, right? If nothing is monolithic or nothing is defined, right? If everything is fluid, then why do we need each other? Why do we date each other? Everybody should just be queer, right?
I mean, not for me in my house, but
No, I'm saying,
hey,
but no, I'm saying everybody should be queer because there's no one way to do it. Like
yeah,
love is
I
love.
think it's more like, okay, yes, there are labels that exist, and the awareness of, but I think the issue is trying to get people to your side, whatever that side is, right? It's just
And you're
like,
wrong if you don't go to
right.
their side.
It's like, if that works for you over there, cool. If that works for me over here, cool. But what we tend to see is people wanting to tell someone else that their lifestyle, their choices, their look, um, is wrong.
Hmm.
And I mean, we haven't really stuck into it and talked about, like, all the attack on black masculinity in general. Like, we're looking at this and we're like, okay, this is a feminine look, um, but is there an agenda by them, the media,
Hmm. I think.
society at large, to do this specifically to black men? And if it is,
Hmm.
why are they going along with it?
Well, those who go along with it, I believe, clearly don't see an agenda. Um, or maybe they do, and it's just, hey, I'm trying to get on,
I'm
like,
trying to get
you
on.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was that narrative, like a lot of them, if you were successful at some point, you dressed up as a woman, right? Especially comedians like Eddie Murphy did it, Chris Rock did it, Martin Lawrence did it,
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Foxx did it, you know.
Flip Wilson.
But yeah, right. And so you have all these men who have some point have depicted themselves as women. And so I think at the core of it, um, and not just like with the masculinity, but like when you think about finance and education and incarceration and everything else, when you make a black man either weaker, um, effeminate, closer to a woman, useless to her, like what need do you have for us, right? So when you think financially, when those barriers that are put in place for us, being gainfully employed, those barriers that find us incarcerated more than anyone else, and then when you get out, like gainful employment, the right to vote, to make change, and everything else, like all these things become limited. Um, that strong, uh, manly image that we used to have, when that's gone, right? Because what does an effeminate man eliminate for you? Protection. You don't look at him as strong and protective. You don't feel secure with that. Y'all can go shopping together. You can go to brunch. You got the gay best friend or whatever. But do
I
you?
mean, some gay men have hands though.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm not. And so the thing is, I'm not even saying like gay men aren't men. But what I mean is the image in which our women look at us changes. So even though there's gay men with hands, if you was out with one of the gay homies, do you look to him for protection? Just like think about your innate thought, right? It's like something pop off. Do you say get him?
I'm like, so what else are we doing? We
Right?
running, or we
I don't
both
know.
trying
I
to
don't
figure it
know,
out?
but I'm posing the question, right? Because you don't look at him to date him. Let's say he's not gay, he's just effeminate, or he dresses like in the last picture or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He got the skinny jeans and Chelsea boots and whatever, right? Um, like, do you look at something's popping off? Some dude is getting disrespectful. Do you get the spicy homeboy, or it's
I
like
mean,
somebody, or do you call him up?
I wouldn't necessarily discount them. I'll just say
I'm
that
not discounting.
because
I'm not saying that he doesn't have the ability to, but I'm just talking about our perception,
mhm.
right? Because that's what this is about. When we're saying the agenda, is not saying that they're not men. The agenda is we're making him appear or look or put him in these. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I don't know Jonathan Major's sexuality. I don't think he's gay. He hasn't depicted anything that would make us believe he's gay, right? Um, but yet he's wearing something that I consider feminine. He may not. He might like, hey, it's just what. Okay, that's cool. I'm not about to die on that hill. It's not
Right.
something that I would wear, right, or even pose in. You know what I mean? Um, and so I just think like we have certain lines and we have certain distinctions. Like when you go shopping, what department do you shop in, right? So if
Hmm.
nothing's a monolith, you shop in the women's section. Now some women go buy men's clothing for certain things or certain, okay, cool, right? But as a man, if you see me shopping trying to accessorize, we're out together. Let's say we were dating, right? I'm hashtag boo.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the women's section and look for something real quick. What you looking for? Right?
Yeah.
You gonna
So you
side
looking
eye.
for something for me?
Nah,
Oh
I'm looking
yeah.
for
Good
something for
question.
me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and like I'll say this, sometimes I'll wear women's shades, right? Because
I
I have
mean,
a smaller face, right? So I ain't saying ooh the pink. I'm talking about like just a neutral style, but they fit me better. Like because I have just a narrow little peanut head. They fit me better. You know what I mean?
mm,
Um, so yeah, but it don't look feminine, right? I've had to deal with a lot of time because I speak with my hands and I had the higher voice, right? people asking me, am I gay? Right? I'm probably one of the least gay people you know.
Have
I had
mercy.
a one of the gay homies. We got into it about something. We was talking about sexuality. He's like, I swear to God, you are like the straightest straight man I've ever met. He made it as an insult, and I'm kind of like, thanks, bro. Like,
You got it right.
that's not an insult. I actually happen to be straight, you know. But I don't sit there and try to act in a certain way that, oh no, I don't want nobody to. I act how I act. And the thing is, because there are gay men who you would have, unless they told you they were gay, you would never know. So I think the
Hmm.
question is valid. I don't get all bent out of shape and everything else. I just know I'm not gay. And nowadays, that's just what it is. Because how many men in the past that we had no idea is gay just because the times we lived in
Yeah.
and it wasn't widely accepted? You would be certainly ostracized
Yeah.
uh, for being out with it. But um, yeah, I don't know. I do think that there are a lot of ways and hidden agendas that are meant to make black men of less value to black women, right? Because and when we're less value, there's less respect, and when there's less respect, there's less need, and that
Mm.
ultimately affects continuing the black family, right? And the
Right.
black family is unity, the black family is community, and those are the things that we're lacking,
Right.
you know.
Right. Right.
Um,
And I asked that to get to that point because I don't know that, Rihanna's cover meant that, or that Jonathan Major's cover meant that, but it is something that we deal with. We know that it has happened, even, with slavery, right? Like, we
mhm,
know the agenda is to cut the black man off from the family. Um, and so we can't act like it's not a thing, or that it doesn't exist. We do need to be aware of it. I think sometimes people can go to the extreme and try to find it in, like you said, the
mhm,
initial image, being a super reach. But we don't need to go to the other extreme and say that it doesn't exist, because it absolutely does.
mhm. Yeah, definitely that Rihanna picture was some bull. Um, that's a black family. That's a black family that is together. That is a black family with clearly two working parents,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that is a black family that is not struggling and is not ever going to struggle. God, well, I mean, anything can happen, but God willing, like
Yeah.
you have a millionaire and a billionaire. They're fine. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Um,
Shout out to them.
yeah, they're broke. We aspire to be their version of broke, right? Like if Oprah woke up tomorrow a millionaire, she'd probably cry.
Everybody's fired. Who was not watching
Everybody's
my money?
all right. How am I only a multimillionaire?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
Somebody
what I
have to answer
mean?
some questions.
Exactly. five
Oh,
hundred
so
million
Lord.
dollars. I'm broke. You know what I mean? So um yeah, I do. There's definitely an agenda. Because even beyond that, let's take the effeminate part out. Look at the films, the music, look what they promote. They don't promote family. And I think there's a clip of Tank that was very powerful. When he was on, I think it was Drink. No, it wasn't on Drink Champs. It was on. Um, no, I think it might have been. But he was talking about how there's no more black R&B, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, especially black men. Like you don't have who's a famous black R&B artist that's
Yeah.
really killing it right now. We don't have that right now, right?
I'm not.
And
I'm not begging no more.
yeah,
It's unfortunate.
but we glorify white R&B artists now, you know.
Oh yeah.
And so
Mm-hmm.
Tank gave the example how Sam Smith can sing, these ballads, that stay with me and everything else. But a black artist can't do that. We can't sing about love and family and staying together. We gotta, smashing and I don't give
Mm-hmm.
and blah 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 and doing each other wrong, like or killing, like there's nothing about love and unity and staying together and starting a family and when's the last time you heard we ain't never heard a song calling somebody sugar since probably the 80s.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but now we laugh at it. Like if a dude made a video and he dancing in the rain, because he in love, like he's soft, right? Like we
Yeah.
don't promote black men loving black women, right?
Mm.
We don't promote black women appreciating the love of a black man. So when you hear women artists singing, what do you hear about? How he ain't no good, he did her
Hmm.
wrong, he broke her heart, he cheated, go on to the next chick. That's the music that we, you know what I'm saying? Um,
Absolutely.
and so just because you sing it slowly, so even if it is R&B, it's not. There is no more real black love music, which is why we always reference 90s
The
R&B.
90s. That's all I listen to.
We always say it's like, oh, if it ain't like 90s R&B, the 90s
Take me back.
was 30 years ago,
30 years. That's crazy.
right? And it was such a great decade. Like the worst, I'm not going to say the worst, but the most graphic music that we had was the Chronic, because that's when hip hop,
Oh,
gangster
yeah.
rap was just, you know, on the rise. So, you had it is ain't it but hoes and
Yeah.
yeah.
No, we had equally ridiculous music,
But
but we,
that, but
we
no,
also
that was
had
on
radio
the Chronic.
edits.
Yeah, you had the
Thankfully,
radio edits. You
we
had,
had
but
radio
it was the
edits.
'90s was about loving each other.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it didn't matter. Like men wasn't ashamed of singing about, what I'm saying, loving your woman and I'll do anything. Like after what did After Seven say? I'll give you the sun, the rain, the moon, the
Moon,
stars, and the
stars,
mountains.
in the mountains. Yeah.
I'll
I'll
give
give
you
you
the
the
world.
world. Shout out to Babyface and his brothers.
Yeah. I only think of you on two occasions.
Day and
That's
night.
day and night.
That's it.
We had some songs. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Um, and it was about love. It was about monogamy. We wasn't talking about like being with, maybe LL with Big O, but he was with everybody. But
But he,
um,
well, I Need Love wasn't the 90s, but uh, he has some love somewhere
yeah, he did.
as
When
well.
I'm alone in my room, sometimes I stare at the wall. In the back of my mind, I hear my conscience call, telling me I need a girl who's as sweet
The
as a
bucket
dove
hat.
for the first time in my life. I see you, and yeah. So, but yeah, like even the Fat Boys had a love song,
It
and
was
then broke
cool
out
to
with the
be in
beatbox and the yeah. But yeah, so it's like we have the power to bring it back, but it doesn't sell. It doesn't sell. If it's not killing each other, if it's not doing each other wrong, it's not marketable. And so an attack on black masculinity goes beyond perceived femininity or homosexuality, right? Or
mm,
being effeminate. Because now we it's I think it's on, and I'm literally just thinking about this. But aside from like the focus is on like being effeminate, but also hyper masculinity is counterintuitive to masculinity, right?
mm.
Because it still leaves the black woman out, right? So while the feminine man she doesn't want, like he gets counted out, the hyper masculine, machismo, macho, abusive,
Ooh,
unfaithful, non-committal, you see what I'm
toxic.
saying? Yeah, like I'm all about the bag, right?
Mm,
That's not true masculinity either, not in my definition. Now, granted, I'm on record saying that you can't objectively define masculinity, but the role of a man is not that either.
mm,
You know what I mean? And so we're eliminating the value of a black man on either side of the spectrum, right? Um, Yeah, and see, and I think that's the war they pulled. It's like maybe the agenda is if we get them to focus on thinking that we're trying to make them gay or effeminate, then they're ignoring the ones that's killing everybody or talking about
mm.
it, or we want to like you have men who are so focused on not being feminine that they overshoot the goal
Yeah.
to be this other thing, and they still are of no value. That's a
That's
that's
good.
an
That's good.
interesting, like what they say, the greatest trick the devil ever played was to convince the world he didn't exist,
It doesn't
huh?
exist. Yeah. Yeah.
Damn, that's
That's
crazy.
pretty good.
That literally just like, we're gonna have to unpack that some more. I might have to do something on the video journal about that one.
That's what we do
I
here
don't
on the
know.
Crossroads.
Right. Oh,
We give the
light bulb
aha.
moments. Yeah.
It's the
Aha,
aha.
aha moments. Yeah, but I don't know. Bring back the R&B. I'm gonna start. Let me put out an R&B album. I
Okay.
can't
Well,
even
you know,
sing.
I'm a R&B money fan. So what's
Mhm.
your top five? Your top five R&B artists.
Ooh, oh, damn! You are. Oh, I'm on the spot, huh?
I know.
Um.
I gotta think. I don't really have to think, but
So top five R&B
and you
in
don't
no.
have to qualify it. It's just
Yeah,
yeah,
in
just
no
you
particular order.
today.
I'm gonna just name some folks that I like, and then I have to like think about it. But definitely used to love Boys to Men. Um,
I'll just hold up one because one and one. We together. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. My favorite band of all time is Mint Condition.
Hmm. Come on,
Uh,
Stokely.
yeah. I'm not gonna say like Prince or Mike because I consider them both pop. But who can I listen to? Who's my female vocalist? R&B. The '90s was about them groups though, so you had your SWV. You can't have the '90s without SWV.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be 90s. I'm just saying,
Yeah, no, no, no. I'm just thinking about it.
Okay. Okay.
Because now there's real no R&B. Now. Beyonce's pop, but like that's just more her mega status. I don't know. I gotta think about that one. You
Okay.
got
So
you
you
definitely
got
got your
you give us
Luther.
three? Okay. Luther.
Yeah, you got to put Luther in there if I'm going back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my favorite. I don't know if this would be R&B or it would be soul, but my favorite singer is Donny Hathaway.
There you go. Okay. Don is
You know,
definitely yes, yes.
like just the stuff Donny said.
So is that four? So Boys to
I think that's
Men,
fine. I
Mint
said Boys to Men,
Condition, SWV,
Luther, and
Donnie.
Donny.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's
That's
more. I don't
solid.
know. I can't even limit it to five, but I'm just throwing out five. Like
That's a
Donnie said, I
solid.
love you in a place where there's no space or time.
No space or time. Just out there.
If I ever leave you, you can say I told you so. And if I hurt you, I hurt myself as well. Is that any way for a man to carry on? Do you think I want my loved one gone? Escape Brandy. No, yeah, no addition.
No addition. Luther's there again. Anita
I
Baker.
would put Patty over Anita.
Okay. I
Um,
mean, it's room for everybody. I mean,
yeah,
in
Anita
your
get up
top
there.
five.
Caught up in the rapture of love.
You just mad because of that national anthem.
No, I've been on Anita here for years. I can like I love her, I listen to it, but I could just never understand what she's saying.
Have mercy. Have mercy. Okay, let me see.
Sorry.
Why?
Hold on, now God getting with me because it
Now,
hurts so much.
yeah, now you're hurting.
Oh God, that hurts. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. So we're doing top five
Yeah, who's your
R&B
top five?
artists. So top five, Stevie Wonder.
Oh,
Because there's really none of the rest of these people without
mhm.
without Steve.
But Donnie
Stevie
was before
Wonder.
Stevie, but
I know, but he got cut. Well, he cut his own self off. So I'm
who?
sure had he continued, Donny Hathaway, I'm sure he
Oh
had
yeah.
plenty more to give us, but
Oh, when you said cut
you know,
himself off, you meant literally. Okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know if that was, but that's what it is. So Stevie Wonder, um, Boyz II Men, Brandy, um, oh my God, it was somebody that was right on the, oh,
That's
and
three.
I lost, Babyface. That was
Mm-hmm.
who, Babyface. Oh, Sugar pie, honey bunch. Now I know people be on her voice, but I got to give it to Mary Jane Blige on number five.
Oh yeah, I mean she the queen of R&B. That yeah,
Oh,
she can't
okay.
be the greatest singer, but like Mary got
Yeah,
songs.
yeah. So
We
that would
still
be
ain't nobody go not listen to Mary. And I don't know if
my
it's popular to
top
say,
five.
but like I don't know if you could really talk R&B without saying R. Kelly.
Well, yeah, I think everybody leaves him
That's
out of their five at this point, but
you can't,
the
bro.
the aura in R&B,
Like arguably one of the greatest writers, if not the greatest writer.
he's the asterisk on everybody's.
Right. Yeah.
Some people on the show have come up and have said his name, and then others have just been like, "Well,
Yeah.
if it wasn't,
They just don't know if they can say. They whisper. I'll never forget
yeah,
when the whole documentary when it started hitting the fan a couple years ago. Um I was at a bar and people was jamming in it, and then all of a sudden the DJ put on R. Kelly and like 3/4 of the room stopped. They was like,
jeez, we not
and
in the
he
mood."
because he did it on purpose to see what people would. You had some that was like, I'm dancing anyway. Like it's like you can't take the music
Mm.
away.
Well, I know we were gonna go into Chris Brown, but we.
Yeah, we can.
But I think this is good since we're talking about aura, to kind of put a pin in it and let you guys know we're going to talk cancel culture, because there have been a couple of great examples, and that is one of them. But also some other examples just even in the past week or so. So we want to talk through um, what it means to be canceled. Even on, this show, we've kind of laughed and joked about it, but it's like, man, you got to be careful about what you say and what you do. And,
Listen.
because you can very well be canceled, or at
Mm-hmm.
least they can call for a cancel.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like as long as you're still talking about somebody, you really haven't truly canceled them. You want to
Right.
cancel them, don't give them no airtime. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Nah. It's yeah. Cancel culture is annoying to me, to be honest. It's like, and I didn't save it, but there was this whole cartoon about cancel culture too, um, where everything is connected to something. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like me drinking dark liquor is misogynistic because drinking dark liquor leads to the abuse of women, and
Mm.
like what?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, without going too deep because I want to save my thoughts. There's a difference between, accountability. I think is important, um, and people should be held accountable for their actions. But like we do in a lot of things, we just take things to the far extreme.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what does it look like to hold somebody accountable for their actions and keep it moving? Because quite frankly, everybody has a day,
Mm-hmm.
and it may
And
it
who
may
was
not be
supposed
the
to
same
hold
thing, but
somebody
it's a day.
accountable? Right. Like,
Well, if
and
it's like a crime, that's what
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
things
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
yeah. But social media cancel created cancel culture. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because we
Um,
weren't doing this. Well, there's the argument we weren't as sensitive back in the back in the day, and now
or
everything offends people. So
yeah, I mean, but we don't get to pick and choose what offends people either. I was just telling this white lady that today. I was kind of engaging someone on Instagram. So there's this comedian that made this joke about slavery, right?
mm-mm.
Yeah. So the joke was, he was like, "Now this is a tough joke, this do as a white comedian, but I'm gonna say it." He was like, black people are like better at us at everything, right? So
Mm.
he was like, so the fact that we pulled off slavery was kind of neat. He was like, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, wait, what? And so, people are in the comments like, oh, some people's like, that's funny, don't be, and then other people, I was like, no,
Oh, no.
yeah, no. And so this one lady, she's like, uh, we've gotten past that, blah blah. I was like, by we, who is we? Because the last time that I checked, You know, because
Right.
I had made the comment, I was like, because someone was like, "Oh, slavery was abolished." I was like, "They didn't abolish it; they renamed it.
Oh shoot.
They repackaged it, they rebranded it." And so she was like, "Oh, well, blah," just all the. I was like, "You don't get to tell people what to not be offended by." I was like, "Because you're being a racist." And she goes, "I'm not a racist. You don't get to call me a racist just because I don't agree." I was like, "Oh, so you're telling me what I don't get to call people, like you don't get to be a racist, but I don't get to be offended. Like you're telling me
Mm,
I can't be offended, all and telling me I can't call you a racist." I was
that's
like,
it.
see how convenient it is for you to just make the rules.
She
And you're
said what
so
she said.
I was like, you so comfortable making the rules and you don't understand how racist that is, do you? Like you're literally yeah, I was just having fun with. I really like. You're not gonna convince people, and I think I kind of spooked her out because I did go to her page and something like that. Because she said something, I was like, you should be very, very quiet. And I spelled it VEWY, and she's like, and you need to learn to read. I was like, I'm likely more educated than you. Um,
Yeah.
I was like, and you clearly don't understand the reference when you see one, but I'm very educated. I was like, I know who you are, and I know you went to UNC. Kind of spook her out.
Oh my lord.
And
Oh
so she didn't comment back to me after
yeah.
that.
I'd have been like, uh-oh.
Like,
Click.
wait a minute. Yeah. Like, how do you like, baby, you don't know. You can be a whole me. I could be screenshotting all of this.
Oh my
Lose your job
gosh.
if you want to.
So y'all
But
can see me and Barzini both are the
oh damn,
afflicted
we
this
both
evening.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just looked up like, oh, we both is
We both sitting here holding.
holding
Yeah.
it. My
And
neck
I'm
has
just
been
holding right
jacked for
here.
so
Yeah.
long.
Mine is my
Yeah.
back. It's just
Yeah.
shooting up, but it's all the way back there. So y'all, we both gonna go heal. I'm gonna go lay on the
Lay
massager's
down.
floor.
So what happens when you
And
get older?
yeah, we're gonna continue this conversation though, because we actually didn't get to everything, but we love and appreciate y'all for tuning in. Don't forget, if you haven't already, please scroll down, subscribe, share this.
Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe.
Um, you don't always have to catch us live. We love the engagement live, but if you've missed any of our lives recently, there's a whole playlist that you can go back and check out. We have past episodes from season one that are on the channel as well. Go check those out. Please share this channel, get others to subscribe as well. And if you're not doing nothing tonight, keep your computer on, hit a playlist and loop it, and just let it run
Just let it
all
play.
night. Put it on mute. Just let it run. You know why? Because we need the watch hours.
My TV going right now behind us.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
y'all, we get credit for watch hours and subscriptions. We have a goal that we're trying to reach. The more important goal right now is to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're already at three something. So if y'all can help us out by sharing this, getting friends and family to subscribe, tune into the show, engage, give us your comments, give us your thoughts. We appreciate all of that. And continue. So hit us up on our social media if there's any subject matter or topics that you want us to cover. If you have any questions that you want us to cover, season 2 is coming really soon. It's a pre-recorded. We're gonna still continue with the lives. We have a lot going on, y'all. Make sure that you check out House of 334 for your business branding and copyright needs and website needs, especially if you have a business. Um, Also, you can
Oh
check us
yeah.
out on our social media. My new video journal that's on my social media, which is Barzini Speaks on IG and underscore Barzini Speaks underscore on TikTok. So there's a new episode every week, and it's 5 parts. So there's a new part every day. Creating new content. If y'all didn't know, I have a book out. And I'm publishing my second book later this year. So hello, me, nice to meet you. You can get that on barzinibooks.com. And some other things that I'm going to be doing a more of a hard launch later on that can make us all some money. So we're doing things, y'all, and we need the support, and we need just everything, and we love y'all for going on this ride with us, because y'all are road dogs
And roadies.
and our roadies. So as always, y'all, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Until next time, always remember, 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 be
Be
free
free to be
to be
you.
you. We
You guys
love
have a
y'all.
good night. Peace.